Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Tips, topics, and talk, we got it all. Brownstone Boozy and Breakfast with Fernell. Here to entertain, and we will help you live well. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are welcome in the essence. This broadcast, Brownstone, the light is contagious. But you need go on and receive it for yourself. Just open it, exuberant, evolution, excited. We standing on the foundation of expression. You might have seen, you might have been, or you could have gravitated. Our foundation, we want to create a space for all to collaborate and be liberated from eventually all over the globe. And we are extending a hand to those who are an extension from maybe platforms, dig into another stratosphere. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Tips, topics, and talk, we got it all. Brownstone Boozy and Breakfast with Fernell. Here to entertain, and we will help you live well. And that is MSG, the message in the message. I can OD on my execution of excellency. And this as a man right now, and things aren't created, but see true.
Good morning, everybody, or actually good afternoon. Welcome to your lunch break with me, Paulette. I'm the owner and founder of Brownstone Worldwide, which houses, you guessed it, brownstoneworldwide.com, Cityscape Radio, and Brownstone Living Magazine. What are we talking about today? A ton of stuff. We are going to be covering several different things throughout today's particular podcast, but I wanted to take a few minutes, if I may, and I wanted to address one of a couple of folks' comments on Meta specifically, who seem to have a problem with being provided news and information that they can use. And so I wanted to definitely talk about that first, because I think it's important for a lot of people to understand that when people like myself and others who are providing you with news and information that you can use, the idea is to provide you with news and information that you can use. Now, what you do with that news and information is absolutely up to you. It does not matter to me what you do with it. You can either share it, you can block me, you can delete me, you can scroll right by, because that's super easy to do, right? But when you begin to verbally assault people who are here to make sure that you are getting the information that normally you otherwise would not get, because your regular news outlets are not providing you with the information that we are getting on the media side, on the journalistic side, I would think that that takes a lot for someone like myself and others to literally do throughout our regular lives. And when we are assaulting the people that are providing you with information, it boggles and blows my mind that you go beyond and above to call us liars, to call us what is another one that I've been called? Hate monger. I've been called a racist. I've been called all the things. That was it. That was a thought that made you think of Aaron Parnas. So here, yes. So Lucy, to your point, Aaron Parnas is one. Midas Touch is another one. Myself, Brownstone Worldwide. We have others. And here's the thing. There's a lot of people that are out there that are providing the news, and I try my best to follow them, like Under the Desk News. We have another one that is providing news and information. And I need you guys to understand that, y'all, this is work. A lot of us wake up in the morning and the first thing that we're doing is we're providing news and information. I am not in any way saying that you have to pay attention to me. There's too much information out there for anybody to be uninformed, unless you just want to keep your head in the sand. And I find it disappointing and disheartening that, yeah, Mr. Global is great as well. Not as nice as you. I love that name. So I'm only saying this because I am not like, and I'm just going to keep it 100. I'm not like all of the other news broadcasters that are out there. right? I'm just here to provide you with news and information. I try my best to remain unbiased, and I will give you both sides. See, that's something. If something is provided to me, I will dive deep, and I will research it first so that I am clear and understand both sides, right? So we're also going to be talking about the 19-year-old young lady that here in Georgia, Dalton, Georgia, that's north of where I currently am, is currently in ICE custody. We're going to talk about that. And why, as I was reading it yesterday, I thought, oh, wow, everyone really needs to know this piece of information, only so that you are well informed. And if you're going to be mad at anybody, can I keep it 100? Y'all need to be mad at the mama and the daddy that didn't do their due diligence, and y'all been here, what is it, 15 years? That doesn't make what's happening to her right, though. Does that make sense? So you can still have both sides of the same coin, and they still be a balance. Okay, everybody's not going to do that. Hey, Nick, how are you? So what I want you all to understand is, hey, Deals with Nia, come on in this room. Listen, when we are providing you with news and information, you could take it or leave it. You don't have to get in the comments and get to acting silly. Now, what I do, like I said, I'm not like everybody else. I'm not going to continue to. Sometimes I go back. Happy Thursday to you as well. Sometimes I go back and I scroll through and I look. And if I think that it is not healthy for the entire communication. Hey, Aline, how are you? Guess what I do? I delete it. That's not helping this conversation. This is supposed to be healthy. It is supposed to be constructive. And I do. If you're cussing people out, if you're being rude and nasty on purpose, it does get removed. There's no point for us to not be looking for solutions to what is happening right now. That's it. So I do respond. And a lot of people get really surprised. And that's okay. Y'all, I'm good with it. But at the same token, we need to understand that it takes a lot. So when I get nasty comments, if you're just now coming in, I got a really interesting comment from someone about the skinny proposal for cutting education grants and programming. Y'all, it's talking about cutting not just the SEOG grant and federal work study by $98 million. That's just for FSW. That's FWS work study. But it actually wants to cut the education department's administration and get rid of the civil rights division of the education department. Do y'all not see where there is a problem with that? I do. Should you be informed? Hell yeah, you should be informed. And you should be furious. There are a lot of people who look at this and say, well, this is for you. And this is, baby, listen, when I graduated from high school, I was 17 years old. I immediately went to college. I was an infant. I was a freaking zygote. I live in Utah, but lived in Clayton for a year in my 20s. I want different, period. You want different perspectives. That's it. That's all we're saying. So when I was in school, I was 17, living on my own. I didn't have a freaking clue, but I was also a foster child and had aged out. There really was nowhere for me to go. Okay, so because of that, I leaned heavily on grants and loans to help me. Let me be clear. Honey, I didn't have a regular spoon in my mouth, let alone a wooden one, a silver one, or anything. And I know that there are a lot of people that are out there like that. So when y'all coming for people that are providing you with news and information on how they're cutting your education programs, how they're proposing this, they're not cutting, they're proposing. Let me be clear. They're proposing to cut Section 8 and government housing. Did y'all understand? Do you all understand what that means? This is not just, and see, what people fail to get, how did I end up down this rabbit hole? When they're talking about cutting these programs that have been around, these programs, when used properly, no, they have no idea how big this is. When used properly, what people don't understand is these are the programs that help you to stand up on your feet if you don't even have boots. I didn't have boots. I didn't have shoes. All I had was the soles of my feet, and I was able to get up. What did I use? I used federal student loans and grants. I did, so that I could get my education, to get my undergrad. I started with my associate's degree, and I moved on and got the bachelor's. Then I got the master's. Then I got the doctoral at the same time that I got the master's. Are you seeing what I'm saying? So it's not it's not fair to say that everybody is walking around here with silver spoons in their mouth, with all of this opportunity. I had to go find it. And in between that time, just like a lot of people, I had children. I was a single parent. I didn't see any other way out for me. And the only way that I could see out for me was take what money I had. We lived in a 1-bedroom. Let's talk about this. A 1-bedroom roach infested apartment. My KJ and Lily and I, because my other two were grown. And I stayed in that 1-bedroom apartment and got my master's degree. It was hellacious. It was not easy. I was getting food stamps. I was doing all the things, getting Medicaid. I was getting no child support, no nothing. So what was I supposed to do? I had to look towards grants to do what I needed to do. I had to look towards all of the things that I needed to do for them so that we could get out of there. What's wrong with that? You can't be mad at nobody if you didn't make a decision to go to school. And if you got breath in your body, you can do that. I'm saying that to the person that left that awful comment. But anyway, enough of that. So that's just, so you have a new Holy Father. Are we talking about a new Pope? If that's what we're talking about, yeah, okay. Did they announce who it was yet? Because I'm seeing here, the new Pope has been elected. Let's take a look and see who it is. New Pope. Oh, Lord. Wait. Hold on. Woo. Let's take a look and see who it is. It just says that white smoke has been billowing from the Sistine Chapel's chimney. But they'll be announcing it. And when, of course, they do, I'll come back and provide you all with the news. This is huge because who sits in that particular position actually does impact what happens around the world. And we don't think that it does, but it does. Okay, so we'll be sharing that. So right now, white smoke. But until he comes out on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica to give his first blessing later today, no one will know who he is. Okay. So we're gonna definitely be sure to continue to keep you guys informed. But again, y'all cut the people that give you the news and information throughout the day outside of CBS, ABC, Fox Entertainment, because it's not news as far as I'm concerned, MSNBC and all of those. Cut us some slack, show us some love. If nothing else, take the news and keep it moving. Helping others in the time of need is a future community builder. It is. I would say that it is. Y'all, don't forget to get your free, what in the world was that? The rug. Go ahead and get your free digital copy of Brownstone Living Magazine. It is available in my stand store right now, or you can head over to brownstoneworldwide.com. Of course, you can get news and information, and you can also get that. Let's go ahead and talk about Burkina Faso. Let me tell you why that is important. Because they're trying to comfort this young man, and I am blown away. So I try my best to keep my ear to what's happening in Africa, especially this particular country, because it provides us with a little bit more insight on how the rest of the world sees the U.S. And the U.S. and France are literally like trying to get rid of this guy. So the bodyguard of Burkina Faso has revealed that he was given an opportunity to take $5 million of, you ready? U.S. dollars. Need I say any more? $5 million U.S. dollars to permanently remove Burkina Faso's Ibrahim Traore, who is currently the president of Burkina Faso. Here's what you need to know. What you need to know about Burkina Faso is this, and why this is so important. Because at this point in the U.S., we need to understand how serious It is fooling with these people because they're almost like the 100% real outside of Haiti. They're almost like the 100% real Wakanda. Burkina Faso literally has had tons of support from around the world. Not sure if you guys are familiar with this country, but this country literally is the richest in resources of any other country in the world. Diamonds, gold, oil, minerals of all sorts come from Burkina Faso. And over the years, what has happened is France came in and took over the country. Y'all let these people come in, and I don't know how that happened, but I'm giving you the short version of it. You let these people come in and take over your country and remove those rich resources from your land and take it to France. I'm confused. So you literally are going to come in, and first of all, you got these people digging for gold. You got people digging and mining for you and doing all the things. And finally, when this young man got in office, it's been 4 years now, I believe. When this young man got in office, y'all, he's 37 years old. He got in office. He put them out. He said, see y'all, we out. And he began taking steps to rebuild his country using their own reserves. He cleaned house. That's exactly what he did. Why am I telling this story? Because not enough of us are talking about it. And we need to share how serious this is, how the US and France are trying their best to get in and take back over what they stole. And he's saying, absolutely not, no. There have been multiple attempts on his physical person that have failed. So let's talk further about where they currently are and the good that he's doing in his country. So right now, what he's doing is he's building roads. How is it that you are the richest in all of these natural resources of any country in your region, and y'all didn't have roads? How? But France did. Okay. All right. I'm trying to be nice. Yeah, it's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. Thank you, Lucy, for that. So he's building roads. He's built schools, and they are training students, men and women, to be ready for new technologies. Okay? That's what he's doing. They don't like that. They hot as fish grease with this young man. This brother is not playing. He is like, okay, so here's what they're rebuilding. Hold on just a minute, because I thought I had it up and it's not here. Hold on. I'm going to find it because we need to be sure that we understand. They have a new project called the New Project to Strengthen Climate Resilient Roads. So they're building that. Let me tell you something else he did. He said effective immediately, all women have access. Women and children up to age 5 have access to free health care. Effective immediately. All women who are giving birth, effective immediately, have access to free health care. He literally said, let me see if I think I screenshot what he said, because I was like, oh, he's that dude. Yes. So let me see if I have it. When I find it, okay, so what I'll do to acquire, okay, so also here, Burkina Faso, to acquire 70% of ProFarm to strengthen local drug, local drug supply, okay? So do you see what he's doing? Exactly. Guaranteeing the growth and care of women and children. They're not happy about that. They're not happy. So free. So when a woman comes in to give birth, it's free. Period. He said he wants no one to question him on it. It is a done deal. Yes, Cheryl, it is necessary. We're not talking about it enough. And that does not negate everything else that's happening around the world, but we definitely need to know. Not free childcare, but free give birth. And he said something like, no woman who is bringing life into the world should have to pay to do so. I thought, well, I'll be damned. Yeah, it's like it was crazy me reading that. Yes, he literally said that no woman who is bringing life into this world should have to pay to do that. Let me see if I can find that speech. Here it is right here. I thought, wow. So he has declared free childbirth services. Here we go. President Ibrahim Traore has declared that childbirth services will be provided free of charge in all public hospitals nationwide. This bold move is aimed at enhancing healthcare accessibility and reducing maternal mortality rates. Well, when you have as much gold and other reserves that they have, he ain't worried about it. How's that? The comprehensive initiative covers prenatal care, delivery, postnatal care, emergency C-sections, and related medications, ensuring that women have access to essential healthcare services without financial burden. The policy is a key component of the government's efforts to promote social welfare and alleviate poverty. The announcement has been widely welcomed by human rights organizations and the general public, who view it as a significant step towards improving healthcare outcomes in Burkina Faso. While Burkina Faso keeps facing attacks from terrorist groups, the international community and ECOWAS insists Burkina Faso go back to civilian rule. They are excited about what he's doing. Excited. $5,000 in every way. You better say that. And then after that, you really? So yes, he's literally like, no, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to handle that. And so there it is. Okay. There was, and this actually, I want to say came out. I actually saw it day before yesterday, I think it was. Yeah. So he says, today I declare a new era of hope and compassion in our nation. Now, this man that they say is this violent person or whatever. Childbirth is a miracle, and no woman should face financial burdens bringing life into the world. That's what he said now. He's making the announcement, and they sent the documentation out to the hospitals, effective immediately. Of course they are. They're always going to misdirect. Always going to misdirect. And I believe he's got a wife and children, 2 sons, I think, or something like that. But I think that it is amazing that he's literally, doing what he's doing. Why wouldn't you? Like, I think it's a great thing. All right. So definitely wanted to cover that. But there are those who do not want to see this man in power. Why? Because he is literally telling people, get out of our country. We running this. This is what we're going to do. And it's not so much about him even saying, you're going to bow down to us if you want access. We're going to control your access, and you're going to pay for it, because we have suffered for generations behind European rule in our country, and we're tired of it. That's like having somebody in your house that you invited. You said, come on in, and you got in there and you tore everything up for the benefit of just you. Why would you want to continue to have that be your everyday life? If you can get somebody out, pull them out by the root so they don't come back. How's that? I'm just saying, you got to look at all of the things. And so let's pull this up. This is important. The U.S. established diplomatic relations with Burkina Faso in 1960, following its independence from France. In addition to regional peace and stability, U.S. interests in Burkina Faso are to promote continued democratization and greater respect for human rights and to encourage sustainable economic development. Now, that came from the State Department for Burkina Faso in 2021. So right now, what the U.S. has done is they have sent a U.S. general, Michael Langley, to try to take this dude out. Y'all heard about this? Oh, yes. This is news and information you're not going to hear. That itself is a method of slavery to pay for freedom to France. Correct. Correct. Yep. U.S. General Michael Langley is facing criticism for accusing Burkina Faso's President Ibrahim Traoré of using the country's gold reserves to protect himself. That is not what he's doing, folks. If you look at the information, you will absolutely see that this guy is literally building his country using the reserves and resources that are available to him, that are the riches that come from the land that he was born on. He is the commander-in-chief of the U.S. Africa Command. President Traoré constructed the country's first gold refinery in 2024. What he wants is his land free of stress and to be able to enjoy the land with the people that were born there. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. Do you? So Michael Langley is a U.S. general who has been put in position. Did I tell you he's a brother? Oh, yeah, he's a brother. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to work through Kenya. He's tried to work through other countries to get directly to him. And a lot of the countries in the area are like, nah, we're not going to do that. No, it's nothing wrong with that. We out. Oh, but there's more. You ready? There's more. Ooh. This is what they're not going to tell you. This is what they're not going to tell you. Burkina Faso and Russia. Did you hear what I said? Russia's foreign prime minister on Wednesday pledged more support to Burkina Faso in fighting militant groups as he pressed his whirlwind tour of West Africa. This was last year, y'all. Why am I bringing this up? Because it has already been indicated that there will be more military support from Russia. Yep. From Russia. To give them the support that they need. Basically, Russia has said, touch them, you got to deal with us. Guess who else said that? North Korea. Do y'all even understand how serious this is? So let's dig a little bit deeper, and then we're going to move on to the next topic. Thousands rally in Burkina Faso in support of military. Move out the way. Move out the way. Yeah. All right. So this was in Senegal. Thousands of people rallied in Burkina Faso's capital on Wednesday in support of the military junta after an alleged coup attempt and comments by an American official criticizing the leader, Ibrahim Traoré. Last week, the West African country's military government said it foiled a major plot to overthrow their leader, Ibrahim Traoré, with the army alleging the plotters were based in the Ivory Coast. Wow. Earlier this month, General Michael Langley, the head of U.S. military in Africa, accused him during a U.S. Senate committee hearing of using Burkina Faso's gold reserves to benefit the junta at the expense of the population. Crowds of protesters have gathered at the Place de la Révolution in the capital of Burkina Faso, chanting "Long live Captain Traoré," with some holding banners showing a photo of General Langley with the word slave written on his forehead with a red marker. Others waved Burkina Faso and Russia's flag, a close ally of the West African country. Did y'all hear what I just said? Russia said, touch them, you touch us. So we over there fooling in a foolery, which, why are we there anyway? Here's the thing. Exactly. Cheryl, I promise you, I was literally going to say something absolutely insane. Russia and China injecting into the world conversation. I thought there was world conversation between Russia and the U.S. Can y'all help me make this make sense? Do we see the conflict here? I don't know if anybody else does, but I absolutely do. Some of us need to put our thinking caps on. A musician came to the protest, said he was not surprised at the accusations launched by U.S. General Langley because, sit down, y'all ready? Colin Powell lied. Iraq was destroyed. Barack Obama lied. Gaddafi was unalived. But this time, their lies won't affect us. They ready. Are you hearing what I'm saying? They are ready. That's why we tell them we're not against them, but we are against predation and economic slavery, which is what this man is making every effort to prevent for his country. Until last year, the U.S. had military bases in neighboring Niger as part of its counterterrorism work in the Sahel, an arid strip of land south of the Sahara, but withdrew after the West African nation ended the military agreement between the two countries. Burkina Faso, along with its neighbors, Niger and Mali, has for over a decade battled an insurgency fought by jihadi groups, including some allied with Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State group. Yep, Sherry, you are correct. That's why this concerns me, right? So if you're in, so the positioning seems interesting to me that Russia would stand hand in hand with Burkina Faso at this point because they're looking for a reason. Does that make sense to you? They're looking for a reason because no, they are not down for being on our side and being allies with us. They are down to destroy and not helping us. And what better way to do that than to position yourself here? Does that make sense? That was the first thing that came to mind. Like, you ain't just doing this, you doing this. And then France goes, oh, okay, well, let's be friends. How many of you all have seen Sinners? So there's this portion of the movie, and forgive me if you have not, but in the movie, once it is discovered what is happening, and then they open up the doors and they don't welcome them in, he sits there and he says, we can all be friends. You don't even understand what I'm trying to do for you is set you free, with a look of evil in his face and in his eyes. Help me make this make sense. You cannot. I digress. All right. We're going to move on from that. Why is this important? Because you absolutely need to know what is going on around the world and not just in the United States, and how all of these are dots that you need to be paying attention to because they do connect. They're not just over there. Period. Oh, yes, honey. What do? Most folks that I know in my community, we cleanse our threshold first on the first of the month. Let me find some lemon and some salt. Y'all getting up out of here. I'll check it out, Lucy, for sure. I'll check my DMs later. But yes, this was so important. Now let's talk about this young lady in Dalton, Georgia, who is being held by ICE. Y'all ain't gonna like what I got to say. You're not. Georgia college student is being held by ICE and facing deportation, although she's been in the country since she was 4 years old. She literally was stopped by the police because she ran a red light, or she made a right turn on a red light, right? Or something to that effect. And there was no turn on red, no doubt. A Georgia college student faces deportation after she ran a red light, and authorities discovered her entire family has been illegally living in the U.S. for nearly 15 years. She's been here since she was 4 years old. Mexican national Jimena Arias Cristobal, who is 19 years old, was pulled over by police in Dalton, Georgia on May 5th when she failed to adhere to a no turn on red sign. Jimena Arias Cristobal, a Dalton State Community College student, was driving without a driver's license, but told drivers she had an international driver's license. She admitted that she didn't have the foreign document when the officers asked her to show it, and claiming that her mother had taken it away from her and said she was not supposed to be driving. In 2010, she was brought into the U.S. illegally by her parents when she was only 4 years old, during the family's move from Mexico City to the Dalton area, over 30 miles from the Tennessee and Georgia border. Because of her non-citizen status, she was paying out-of-state tuition for school despite living in the area. The officer who pulled her over attempted to speak to the teen's mom and the owner of the car, but neither of them spoke English, according to the report. Arias Cristobal was arrested and charged with driving without a valid license and failure to obey traffic control devices. She was transported to the Whitfield County Jail, a partner of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement 287G program used to identify illegal aliens in the country. Now, this program actually operates based on a series of reviews and background checks completely only after an inmate is already arrested for an offense under Georgia law. That's how they got her. Now, she was processed through the federal database, which confirmed she was not a U.S. citizen. She was brought to ICE's Stewart Detention Center in Lumpkin, Georgia, where her father is also being held. So they apprehended her dad 2 weeks ago, y'all. Now, I reported on this yesterday. So her dad and she are now in custody. He was arrested last month when he was pulled over for driving 19 miles over the speed limit. The father, who owns his own company, was denied proper paperwork to remain in the U.S., and it was not known if he had ever applied for citizenship. They said, his daughter is saying, who is the younger sister of the one that's been picked up, my dad has his own company. They have called the lawyer to see if they could do a job permit or a visa, and they said that they hadn't hit that status to get one yet. She's not eligible for the DACA program, having been brought into the country a year after the program ended. And this is the young lady that they've picked up. So they've created a GoFundMe to raise money for an immigration attorney, which I understand is absolutely insanely, ridiculously expensive. And they want to bond out the team. So you ain't gonna like me for this, but if you started your own business, you've been here for a while, and I'm absolutely against what is currently happening. Y'all were here long enough to get some of this done. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I know people who have been here 20 years and can't afford to get it done. Seriously, like, it takes forever because the process is too long to become a legal citizen. And it is so ridiculously expensive to get an immigration attorney to help you through the steps, especially if English is not your first language. Are you all following what I'm saying? Rather than impacting the economy by removing all of these people, make it an easier process for people to become U.S. citizens. Wouldn't that be the simple thing to do? Absolutely, the entire system is broken. It would be the easiest thing to do. Y'all, what do we need to do to make this? Let's look at the current system and let's see why it's not working. And here's something else. It's Diamond Girl Cindy. Yes, it is the one thing that it boggles my mind. How in the world this country is talking about removing all of these people instead of looking at what the root problem is. It's too hard to become a citizen. It doesn't have anything to do with you knowing English. It doesn't have anything to do with anything else except, pause, it costs too much and it takes too long. So let's look that up. Because for the people that I know that are now hiding, they're like, oh, it's, you know. Now, there are several ways. You generally need to be a lawful permanent American, permanent resident with a green card for at least 5 years or 3 years if married to a U.S. citizen. 5 years, too long. It's too long. You must also meet requirements for age residency, good moral character, English proficiency, knowledge of U.S. history and government, and take an oath of allegiance. You have to complete the form N-400, attend an interview, and swear the oath at your naturalization ceremony. You have to be at least 18 years old. She was 4 when she came in this country. Have been a lawful permanent resident, green card holder. It takes 6. 5 years is still too long. It is. You have to have continuously resided in the U.S. for the required period without extensive time outside the country. I agree with that, Carol Sue. Correct, CJ. So the reason why I have my druthers about some of the things here. Number one, the majority of people that give me flack on social media are people that couldn't tell you U.S. history if it hit them on the face with the pages wide open. But we want these people to know it. I think they should, but should it take 5 years? There should at least be some type of fast track that's available. You know, Joe Gonzalez 4100, I really don't know. I honestly don't know. I can look it up real quick and let's find out. Vanuatu in Argentina. 6 weeks. 6 weeks. It takes 6 weeks in Argentina. Yep, I agree, CJ. There has to be, because when you're if we get our emotions out of it and we look at it from a business perspective, all of the businesses, all of the people that are a part of what the economy is, because what people understand is that it literally is impacting the economy. It's impacting not only the agricultural system. Yeah, 6 weeks. That's crazy, right? So there's got to be a fast track. And if people are serious about becoming U.S. citizens, they'll do the fast track. I don't care how difficult it is. If you want it, then if you're not following these particular guidelines, we might let you, we're going to give you, right? But you can't miss 1 or 2. You got to get it in. But it's really going back to the basics of, why does it take 5 years to become a U.S. citizen, and life is lifing the hell out of you while you're trying to become a U.S. citizen? And I'm not talking about people that's looking for political asylum. I'm not looking for none of that. But I think in this instance where the only thing, when I was reading it last night, I was like, why did it take y'all to get here? He owns a business, which means he's paying taxes and all the things, right? That they don't get Social Security for. See, that's another thing. A lot of stuff is getting missed while we're being so hateful and saying, get out. Like, it's the craziest thing to me. But I kept thinking when I read it and I reread it and I said, I'm going to go ahead and read it and just go live. Now, I didn't go live. I recorded it because I need you all to have all the facts. Here's the thing. They have been here how long? She's 19. They've been here 15 years. Miggy said, I do not understand the 10 required red votes in addition to the 50 blue in the Senate. Pop says, we don't need to change that. You have to show some worth. Honey, if that's the case, then all of us need to go back. I'm just saying. Because there's people right now, when you have conversation with them, they don't know the first thing about American history at all. They've never read the Constitution. They don't get it. So if that's the case, then everybody should be going back through it. Of course they do, Mickey. That's exactly what's happening. They're fitting the law. They're changing the laws to fit their agenda. Insanity to me. Absolute insanity. But I wanted to make sure that you all are aware of what's happening. And then, you know, the sad part is this, I'm going to be honest with you, if it only takes 5 years, and like I said, some of y'all might leave this life, y'all had time to do what you needed to do. You built an entire business here. You came in through Tennessee, through Georgia, settled in Dalton, Georgia, built your business. And unless, of course, which means, according to what I've read, and not just this particular outlet, y'all had the resources. It's not like you didn't. Do you know what I mean? So in this instance, you kind of played yourself because you had time. And I'm just, like I said, I like to balance it out. We got to call it what it is, and it is what it is. You were driving 19 miles outside of the speed limit in a climate that says, we don't want you here no way. They should have gotten it done. Here we are. Do I think that they're being overzealous with this, the 19-year-old? Absolutely. She doesn't know anything else. That's my point, CJ. Why were you doing that? 19 miles over the speed limit? That was her dad. So they picked up her dad. So she even knew. Here's the thing. So she knew. Let's go here. Daddy had already been picked up. So why you out here cutting up without your paperwork? Y'all know what's going on. I'm just saying, you know, I'm just calling it like I see it. Y'all kind of fell right into that. They were absolutely reckless. Absolutely. And I think a lot of times we, you know, until the leopard eats our face, we don't think that we are going to be impacted. And we absolutely, we have to be careful. That's just like Black folks still to this day say, no, we're not protesting because we know what it is. Exactly, Miggy. That's all I'm saying. It's not about me saying that I am for or against. You have to, at least, if you're following the law, you do what you say you're going to do, and you make a mistake, okay. But then on the other side, they said that they was already chewing on dad. Why you out here making it worse? 19-year-old? Oh, that's right. You're 19. You didn't know no better. You thought that the leopard wasn't going to eat your face. That's what you thought. And so here we are. I'm sorry. Now on this one, if you're not watching the news, that's why it's so important to pay attention. You have to meet certain qualifications to first get the green card. Yep, it takes more time and money. Yes, it does. See, you are correct. So it's more than just the 5 years. Like I said, I know someone right now, their entire family, they've been here 20 years and they can't get it. Because it's all the things. And this family is from Venezuela. Yeah. Oh, you do, C. C says she knows someone too. Yeah, it's not a game out here. And the one thing that gets me is is why would you put yourself in harm's way like that? Ride MARTA, take a Uber, and be like, okay, what do I need to do in order to get ahead of the curve? Exactly, Miggy. That is my point. Here's some, yeah. So many can't afford saving for the lawyer and immigration money to file. That part. See, that's what I'm talking about. Others are still waiting after filing, and it takes years. It takes years. That's the problem that my friend and her family are having. It takes too long. It costs money, and it's so expensive. And like I said, when I said life is lifing, that's what I meant by that. Life is lifing. You're just not sitting on a shelf waiting until everything happens for you. You got to eat, you got to pay bills, you got to go to work, you got to take the kids to school, you got to do all the things. And on top of that, you got to figure out, in addition to everything else being sky daggone high, you got to figure out how much money you're going to put aside to pay for your immigration. Right. And Carla, correct. They were paying out-of-state tuition, which tells me, and let me tell you something, these schools in Georgia are not cheap. So if you had the resources for that, then you had the resources. Good standing tax-paying Americans or immigrants deserve auto residency after 1 to 2 years, in my opinion. There has to be a way. Agreed, Miggy. There's got to be a way. You have to be able to prove it. Yes. And so let's just take it back to the drawing board. How does that look? Somebody's got to say, now, wait a minute now. Because it's impacting things. Think about the farms and the wasted food. Think about the people who work at restaurants or own businesses who have literally had to shut down and go into hiding. We got to do better. This should not be about, just striking people across the face. Yes, truckers, all of that, right? So I do know one of my homeboys is a truck driver, said that he was in Arkansas, and literally they were pulling folks over to see if they spoke English, and if they didn't, they arrested them on the spot. Yeah, change the Senate. 10 needed red votes. That's ridiculous. Yep. You can't come here for a year and get citizenship. Well, Pop, I don't know about that, because who is it impacting? Who is it impacting? Let's have that conversation. How does that impact anybody? It doesn't impact me, but it is impacting the economy. It is impacting how we are being viewed by the rest of the world. And some people will probably say, oh, well, that's not important because we're the greatest. No, we not. Don't believe the hype that they out here running on y'all. And it shouldn't require you to speak English first. It shouldn't. It is absurd. Like you said, it's absurd, but I think it's absurd to have to wait that long, especially if you're already working, if you're already paying you paying taxes and you can't even benefit from it. It would be better for absolutely everyone to help people become that part. That's it. It would just be better for everybody for it to be easier. Who would win? The US of A would win. They would win. They would relax. They would be able to do what they needed to do. Now, if you got some folks that's out here just cutting up and doing illegal things back to back to back to back, listen, I get that part. But people that are here and that are productive citizens in their communities and they're doing things the right way and following the rules and following the laws and doing everything that they're supposed to do, then so tell that to Japan and China, who have our bonds. And Japan is making a decision how much they're going to sell. And if that happens, oh my God. We absolutely should be, Cheryl. Should there be rules and certain things that people should follow? Absolutely. But it shouldn't take this long for people to become American citizens. That's why people don't try. And if they do try, one woman I know, she was going for her to do her swearing in, and they deported her that day, put her in chains. So now what? We just picking up folks? What about the 19-year-old child from New York, whose dad is an illegal immigrant, they knew they had the wrong person and said, take him anyway. We haven't heard about him. Yeah. And it's really, and that makes me that, and it is so disheartening because it should be about people and it's not. It's really, really simple. You want somebody to treat you right, then you got to treat other people right as well. Should we not go around following the law? No, I didn't say that. What I said was there has to be an easier way, because here's what we have to look at. If they're continuing to come, baby, listen, don't think that they won't find another way. Just figure it out. There has to be another way. Well, Miggy, according to, people that I know in the farming industry and so forth, they're already losing so many acres and crops because there's no one to do the work. And here's something else too. Let's dig a little bit deeper and let's talk about this further too. When we're talking about those people that do the work, y'all already know we're not paying them a living wage. That's how come nobody that's on this call right now is going to do it. Nobody on this call is going to be willing to do it. You going to bend over and break your back and do it? No. You're not. Pay a livable wage. That's it. Pop, do your homework. There are farmers that are literally losing their crops because they don't have enough bodies to help move that product as it's coming. Because that's not what I'm here for. Do your homework. And you can come back and share with us. Arkansas to be for one, okay? But Pop, that's not what we're here for. And if you came to argue, I don't have no problem taking you and one bam out. I don't have no problem with that. That's not what we're here for. We were literally talking about one topic. And of course, we squirrel here, and that's okay. That's okay. We squirrel. But I don't argue with the people that are in my comments. We don't do that. You can go live and you can do that on your own. Okay? So when we're talking about making it easier for people to come in the country, that doesn't mean that we're saying, and I don't think that there's anyone on this call that literally says that, but there has to be an easier way. Gotta be. That's it. It's gotta be an easier way. People waiting 20 years? 20 years. That's it. I don't have enough. Pop, carry on, sweetie. Hold on. Let me make sure I got the right person. Yep, I do. See ya. We're not going to do the community flag, but that's enough. I don't have enough. No, it's just not. Yeah. Oh, don't worry, Miggy. I'm coming for that one too. Because a lot of these people, they just come here to just continue to just, I mean, if you feel that way, go live and talk about it on your platform. I don't have a problem with that. We're not going to do that. And, you know, that's not what we're here for. Do your own homework. That's right. We need them here. There are less people. And it really comes down to everybody should have the opportunity to have what we have been told is the American dream. Whatever that means for anybody. It's about safety. Maybe it's safer for people who move to this country. More opportunity. The people that have come here from Sudan and have changed their entire lives being a part of something bigger, like playing a sport or having an amazing career in human resources, which I know someone who literally, I was there the day he was sworn in and took the oath to be an American citizen from Africa. And he is proud. But he also had the money to do it. he could hire an attorney. He didn't have a family. It was just him, single guy, 35 years old, and he did it. But it took him like 12 years, he said. He put his head down and did what he had to do. Not everybody has the ability to be able to do that. What you say, Miggy? I wish I could be around in the future when the tortilla will flip on them, and it has begun. It has. Since it wasn't even ours to start with. See, that's the thing. See, nobody said, I love that name. Soon we will be using the prison systems to provide our food source. That means more prisoners. Come on, Papa Kenny. Y'all, how many times have we been in this particular live for the day shift and we literally said that? The 13th Amendment is alive and well, y'all. There's a video that is going around of a group of prisoners that are picking cotton. There's a recording right before the inauguration of the CEO of one of these corporate prisons who was saying they're getting ready to make more money than they ever thought they would. And he was giddy with excitement. Hey, Jackie, come on in. Yes. Can y'all believe that? Like, we just sitting in here, what? Prove this, prove that. Do your own research. Did you see that video? Just in the fields, just picking. And I thought, Lord have mercy. And it did something to me because I have driven through where my grandfather is from. He was born in a tiny little town called Tallulah, Louisiana. And when I was a young teenager, I was about 13, 14-year-old, my dad took me down there. My grandfather had long passed. And he drove me through and it was the first time I had ever seen cotton fields. Yeah, it was the first time I had ever seen it. Here's something else. My family still lives on the land where they were slaves. Guess where they were? You guessed it. For the family that owns the cotton fields that used to own them. They're still there. It's still there. It is still prevalent. It's actually happening in places like Mobile, Alabama right now. So it's the evidence of slavery is still around us and how we think and how we maneuver, and even in the laws that govern this country. So you mean to tell me that we need a whole amendment to make people of African descent American citizens, and then it just transposed and they expanded the amendment to include everybody that was born in the States? There is an amendment that says that we were 3/5 of a human. And they did that so that we wouldn't count as a voting body. The 13th Amendment says that slavery is eradicated unless, of course, you have or are in prison. So it never went away. They just made the words pretty. And then you ended up with paddy wagons, and you ended up with Jim Crow laws, and you couldn't loiter and you couldn't do anything. And guess what? Your blue line was created. But we don't know anything. And I have to continue to provide proof for those who would like to argue. Do your own homework. Yep. American history is so horrible when you learn the unabridged version. Yes, that is correct. That's why I wanted to share with you all what is currently happening in Burkina Faso, because you definitely need to know. Do not be blinded about the lies that these people are telling you all in American news about what's happening over there, because the world out there is literally being fed the truth, and we're not even being told what's happening. And we're going to wake up one morning, it's going to be on the news, something horrible has happened. No, we need to continue to share as much information as we possibly can about what is actually happening right now in the US of A, because we out of order. We've been out of order. And I don't care, from all the way back, as far as I could breathe, we've been out of order. Even during the Obama administration. And I like the guy. I'm just calling it like I see it. So there's that. It's the same way they keep acquitting bad cops. What proof? We live it every day. They don't tell us what we need to know, only what they want us to know. And see what it's, I say it often, Johnny Q. Public is stupid. If you say something long enough, they'll believe it. Right. And Carol Sue, that's, and I hate to do that because you say things like, oh, it's just stressed me. Don't be stressed out. It is about remaining informed. We just need to remain informed. It is so important. So that you can look at people's side eye and be like, no, that ain't what I heard. When you're on TikTok, search Globe Talk, World Talk. Correct, Carla. We're going to end with that one. And let's go ahead and do that now. Aaron Parnas of the Parnas Perspective. Do y'all know Pam Bondi didn't want to arrest him? I just had to put my head down. Girl, CJ, yes. Let me see if I can find it because he talked about it this morning, and I'm just gonna let him tell it better than I could tell it because he talked about it this morning, and it's so and really about China. Hold on. I don't know if Angie T is in here. I just saw your message. If you are, I usually try to get here between 11:30 and 1. So at 11:30, that's my schedule. Trevor McEwen on the run, local cops hill. Oh my God. I cannot keep up. Oh my God. Hang on. Let's go to Aaron. Cause see, I'll be here all day. If it's going to happen anyway. First time I saw put James on the road. Clear. Yeah. Okay, hang on.
Folks, I have some serious news right now. Top MAGA influencers are now calling on me to be prosecuted by Attorney General Pam Bondi for sharing a report about upcoming ICE raids in Washington, D.C. I shared where I got the report from. I shared who reported it. Wasn't me. Libs of TikTok wrote, quote, wow, left-wing activist Aaron Parnas warned his 3.5 million TikTok followers about the planned ICE raids in D.C. before it happened. He shared a report from an anti-ICE, pro-illegal reporter who has leaked details on raids multiple times. And this guy, with over 300,000 followers, tagged Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States, saying, please prosecute Aaron Parnas. He's been broadcasting ICE raids. He's amplifying the federal crimes of the leakers. He's endangering the lives of ICE agents and all Americans. Make a legal example out of Parnas. I don't highlight this for fun. I highlight this because this is the threat that those reporting news every single day in this America face. I did nothing wrong. I shared a story that talked about a planned ICE raid in Washington, D.C. so that more people were aware of it. That's not a crime. And I'm not going to stop, and I'm not going to back down. So join me, consider supporting me by subscribing to my Substack, link to my bio, and following for more. Folks,
You heard it first. You heard it first. Yep, free speech, maybe. Oh, I forgot. We don't have that anymore. Crazy. So that is why it is becoming more and more imperative to pay attention to Aaron Parnas, Midas Touch, Under the Desk News, and so many others who are providing you with news and information that are independent. I do encourage you to head over to Substack, where a lot of us who are in the journalism and news field are, and we're sharing information that we're getting. I'm Paulette on the mic on Substack as well, because the information that we're getting, you're not getting on regular news, right? So we do talk about here in the Brownstone, all of you all are neighbors, welcome neighbors. We talk about what's happening, but we also like to provide you with information you're not going to get anywhere. You wouldn't know anything about a Burkina Faso if people like myself and others weren't talking about it, because they're not talking about it. Correct, Cheryl. Yes, fourth branch of government is freedom of speech, the press. And we are so important, especially during this time, because if it was up to them, we'd be watching reality TV series and thinking that the ports were full. And that is not the case. I'm not trying to fearmonger anyone. I need us to think, because the primaries are coming. And you need to know what you need to know so you can be in position to use your vote to see some change. Because if nothing happens, nothing happens. And where we currently are, it will just continue to spread. So I had to do my due diligence. When I saw that this morning, because he wasn't the first one to report it, right? Somebody else did on another social media platform. And I'm sure that people were tagging him like I did and stuff like that in it. But when I saw that, I said, oh, it's time for me to get up. I was up, you know what I mean? But a lot of times, like, I'll be scrolling the news while I'm still lying down at 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning. And I'm like, let me get up, do my little whatever and get going. But when I saw that, I said, oh, it's time for me to get up. And when I say that, and I mean, it's time for all of us to get up. And we need to be responsible for the news and information that we are digesting so that we are clear on what our directive should be. Just like I sat here, and I don't want anyone to think that I'm either left or right. I'm for right or wrong. Okay? You were wrong to be in this country for as long as you were, and you didn't do your due diligence, but you built a business. You're paying out-of-state fees, so you have the resources in order to get your immigration status taken care of. You had time to do that. So let's be clear. Right's right, and it don't wrong nobody. I want to be fair. Okay? So, and then you're driving reckless, 19 miles over the speed limit, bro. Let's take a look. So unfortunately, you kind of played yourself and you knew better. With everything that's happening, I would have been getting in touch with an immigration attorney as fast as I could. For those of you all who are not familiar with what the SAVE Act is, it's basically documentation. Let's take a look at it. No, I don't want you to know who I am. That ain't none of your business. Hold on. I don't think it has. I think it just passed the House. But what I will tell you is that an older woman today was talking on social media. They refused to give her the real ID because she can't find her 50-year-old documents, her marriage certificate. She can't find it. So there we go. Yep. So the SAVE Act, let's talk about it really quick. For those of you all who are not familiar with it, what is it? I think it is important for you guys to know that millions could be affected. And it's showing here that 21.3 million American citizens who don't have documents like their birth certificate or a passport could literally be, Daniel, honey, see, we just go ahead and just let you just be by yourself in that corner at the psych ward by yourself, baby. Okay, so it's a voter ID law, quote unquote, but ultimately it's women who've been married and have changed their name recently. It's going to impact you. For people who can't find their birth certificate, say for instance, you need to go and register to vote, or you're changing your voter, where you vote and so forth, you're going to have to bring in that documentation. If you don't have it, honey, he was already in the corner in a straitjacket. Okay. I'm sorry. Are we okay? So basically, you have to provide this information just to register every time you register or you re-register. And if you don't have those documents, then you will not be able to vote. Okay. And the problem is what people do. Let's just keep it real. You can order your documents from vital statistics like your birth certificate or to the courthouse where you got married and so forth. You can get all of those documents. Problem is, here's what people do. They wait until the last minute. They wait till the last minute to get their documents. But it does not, right now, Cheryl, it doesn't look like the SAVE Act has passed the Senate. It has not. Okay, but we still need to be on the lookout for it. Thank you for the reminder. All right, folks, it is 1:22 in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Time. No one will know the Antichrist, please. You have one. Bless you. Bless you. Bless you, Papa Kitty said. Yes, no one will know. So again, I'm going to say this. Do your due diligence. If I'm providing the news, I'm going to provide those sources. Of course, Angie, I left you a message as well. I didn't know if you were still in here or not. I'm usually here between 11:30 and 1. These past couple of days, you know, college grad, she's home, running her around, getting some stuff done. Took my son to finish up all of his registration for college. And I didn't know that he was, you know, everything was, I thought we were just turning in his paperwork for school. And that didn't happen. He was accepted on the spot. And so we went on ahead and took care of all of his stuff that day. And I was like, dang, I got to eat roast potatoes. I don't want roast potatoes at this college cafeteria today. They don't have nothing better than this. This ain't FAMU. Because, baby, you go to FAMU, you have a soul food dinner every time. Thank you, Cheryl. So, yeah. Oh, let me not forget, before we wrap, 11:30 to 1. Yes. And the reason why I do that is because I'm learning, just looking at my numbers, we have the neighborhood literally has more time. American elected Pope for first time in history. It just broke. We have an American Pope. Okay. Breathe. Okay. So 11:30 to 1, my numbers go through the roof during that time. When I run my analytics, I'm usually between 2,000 to 3,000 views. 3,700 was the last count, you know, because people are in and out. Then we have like, you know, people, you all are sending gifts, and then the subscribers and so forth. So 11:30 to 1 works well for me because it gives me time to run the business, take that quick break. This is a lot of times people's lunch break. I don't know. You're not Catholic. Hey, Belton AI, I want to see heads explode. Oh my God, if they do, kapow! It would be, oh, Jesus. Because he is American, isn't he? Oh, man. Anyway, all right. So, again, brownstoneworldwide.com, Cityscape Radio. And y'all, go ahead and check out Brownstone Living Magazine. It is in my stand store. You can always go over to Brownstone Worldwide. Scroll down just a little bit. You'll see the Brownstone Living Magazine cover with KJ on the front. And my son looks good on the cover. He really, really does. All right, so got a couple commercials to cut this afternoon, y'all. I'm telling you now, if you see me on a commercial pretending to be, and remember, it's an act. I'm an actor. Sometimes I do these to just keep my chops wet. If you see me out here, pretend you don't know me. Just go, oh, that looks like. No, that's not her. All right. So follow Paulette on all her platforms for all the news. Brownstone. Thank you so much, Cheryl. I appreciate. I'm so serious. Listen. So let's see. BrownstoneWorldwide.com. Cityscape Radio is available at Brownstone Worldwide as well. It'll just pop up a separate window. Brownstone Living Magazine. Follow me on Substack because I'm going to jump right back into it and do some journalistic content today for you guys a little bit later. Always check throughout the day because I'm going to be ramping up. You are most welcome. Deals with Nia. I'll be ramping up exactly what news I'll be sharing throughout the day. Carol Sue, thank you all so much for joining me today. One, don't forget, do your 6 list. We'll get back into it tomorrow. But remember, 1, love your life. It is the only one that you have. 2, live your life to the fullest and embrace everything that is your life because you only get one you might as well enjoy it. And lastly, breathe through every single moment. Guys, we'll see you around.
Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Tips, topics, and talk, we got it all. Brownstone Boozy and Breakfast with Fernell. Here to entertain, and we will help you live well. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are welcome in the essence. This broadcast, Brownstone, the light is contagious. But you need go on and receive it for yourself. Just open it, exuberant, evolution, excited. We standing on the foundation of expression. You might have seen, you might have been, or you could have gravitated our foundation. We wanna create a space for all to collaborate and be liberated from eventually all over the globe. And we are extending a hand to those who are an extension from maybe platforms, dig into another stratosphere. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Tips, topics, and talk, we got it all. Brownstone Boozy and Breakfast with Bernard, here to entertain, and we will help you live well. And that is MSG, the message in the message. I can OD on my execution of excellency. And this as a man right now, and things aren't created, but see true.